What do I need now? Oh yeah, remote installation services, isn't it? Control panel. Configure. This wizard helps you prepare the server to remotely install Windows 2000 Professional on a remote boot enabled computer. To successfully install and use remote installation service, you will need DHCP DNS 2000 server and client computers that either have PXE, DHCP and DNS on your network. So I don't actually need Active Directory. I do technically need Active Directory because that's where the remote installation services is. Anyway, let's not do that. Let's create Active Directory, which I can do through here, I think. Components. No, it's not in there, is it? It is. There's actually two ways to get in there. There's a configure your server somewhere. Yeah, configure your server. Then in here you can run Active Directory. Active Directory stores information about network objects such as user accounts, shared printers, and provides access to that information. To make this server domain control, you must install Active Directory. Cool. No existing controller, set up your server. Are you familiar with that? So I'll start the Active Directory wizard. But normally I wouldn't use this configure your server. I would use the command line to do it. Which the simple command is dc promo. And it's basically promoted to a domain controller, and it's the same thing. Click next. Do you want this server to become a domain controller for a new domain or an additional domain controller for an existing domain? Well, it's the first domain controller, so let's do the first one. Select this option to create a new child domain, a domain tree, or a new forest. The server will become the first domain controller in the domain. Yes. Create a new domain tree. Yeah, this is all new, so it's fine. Do you want to create a forest of genre? Yeah. Your organization, if your organization has DNS, no, you can use that name. Let's make it to main. Okay. The domain does not appear to be a full DNS name. Full DNS names usually have one more label separated by dots. Example, domain.microsoft.com. Okay. So I need to make that domain local then to keep it happy. Okay. So that looks like it's going to work. Hopefully. This is the name of the early versions of Windows you use to identify the domain. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not going earlier than 2000 anyway. This is why I created a separate drive, because for best performance and recoverability, store database files on a separate hard disk. Fine. Let's make that E. Let's make that E. So if you were doing this in a physical environment, the separate drives would be on the physical server, but you would probably create it as a RAID configuration, so it would offer redundancy. But then you'd have to have a backup solution to back up those on a separate physical hardware, which I'm not going to cover because it's all virtual anyway. The wizard cannot contact the DNS server that handles the name domain.local to determine if it supports dynamic update. Confirm your DNS configuration or install DNS on this computer. DNS is not available. Would you like this wizard to install and configure a DNS? Yes, I would like that. Some server programs such as NT Remote Access Services read information stored on domain controllers. Permissions compatible with pre-Windows 2000 servers. Permissions compatible with only 2000. Well, I'm not going to go before 2000. Say NT4 and NT 3.5 are previous versions, but they are unfamiliar versions to me, so I'm just going to make everything from 2000 forward. Permissions yes. Directory services restore mode admin passwords. Okay, so that's going to be DSRM. Let's make that, so you can make that any password you want. Let's see if that works. Okay. Configure the server as the first domain controller. It is called domain.local. Database files are located on the other drive, and the DNS will be configured. Okay. So yeah, Active Directory is probably the best thing to install first, because it configures DNS. DHCP is something else I need to install as well. And what DHCP is, it basically it's like your home router, and what your home router does is it assigns IP addresses to machines connected to it, so it allows it to access the network, access the internet. Well, for server versions, you can get the server to do that. Yeah, restart. Okay. That actually took a long time to restart the computer after installing Active Directory. It had a lot of things you had to work out, but still, now that let's have a look. Is that logging into the? No, it's logging into the domain. But I didn't set the password up, did I? No, I did not set the password up. Okay. So it's, oh, that's dangerous. It's using the local admin password as the password for the domain. I need to quickly change that because it's not good practice. But before I do any of that, I need to set the IP address of this computer. So where is it? Settings, control panels, network and connections, local network properties, show on taskbar, so it's like the later versions of Windows, so it's always down here. Open the connection, properties, IP protocol. Let's use the following. Let's use the following. So 926. That's going to be 255, and the DNS server is going to be itself. 68.1.100. Because this is in its own network, it doesn't matter if I use 1.1, it won't interfere with anything else. 192.168.1.100. Actually, no, I don't need the alternative one in there because there isn't an alternative DNS server. Click OK. Okay, so that's now configured with a new IP address. What I need to do is to see if the DNS works. DNS 2000 properties. Yeah, it's already updated. That's good. Forward those advanced routines. Okay, I'm not going to bother with any of that. Okay, let's have a look. Where is the DHCP thing? Configure server. So have I got Active Directory? Okay. And the networking. DHCP, let's do that. Because it's under... Where did I find it? Under networking services, wasn't it? Yeah, DHCP and WINS. Set to the WINS server and the registers and resolve net BIOS names for clients. Yeah, I set that up as well. Next. So this will allow me to assign IP addresses to clients if they want to connect to the pre-execution environment. So that was relatively quick, but there's more to do, there's more setup. Administrative tools, technically I can't. Where's the DHCP? Where's the shortcut? There they are. Active Directory, DNS and DHCP. Let's set up DHCP. Before a DHCP server can issue IP addresses, you must create a scope and authorize the DHCP server. A scope is a range of IP addresses that is assigned to computers requesting a dynamic IP address. Authorization is a security precaution that ensures only authorized DHCP servers run on your network. To add a new scope, click Action New Scope to authorize. Okay, fine. Alright, fine. So let's do new scope, and it base. Type the name and description of this scope. The information helps you quickly identify client PCs. So what it's asking me now is, what's my range going to be? 1.1 there. How many bits? Length 24 GB plus. Alright, so this is only going to be a small network with a couple of things attached to it. So if I do this, 168. If I typed it incorrectly, 168.1.10, that means that there will be only 10 clients that can connect to this domain. And theoretically, you could do this 255, which is the maximum on this particular. It's not even the subnet mask; it's something else, isn't it? It's you know what? I don't really know. Is the statement, and I can't use that anyway, because the domain controller is 162.168.1.100, and that's within this range. If I wanted to technically take out separate servers from clients, I would put the servers. I would either put the clients like this. Oh, like that. 24. Wait, why can't I work? 2, 4. And make. I could do that, so I have 225. But to just keep it simple, I'm gonna do this. 001 with 10. So I'll only make 10 of them, which is fine. For this test, it's okay. Yep, click next. Wait. Enter the range of addresses that the scope distributes. Enter the IP range that you want to exclude if you want to exclude a single IP address. Yeah, there's no exclusions because I'm only doing it to the first 10 with the servers on the 100. So there's no exclusions here. Least duration should typically be equal to the average time that computers connected to the same physical network. For mobile networks, that consists. Okay, so what happens with DHCP is the PC rents or the DHCP server leases an IP address. So that PC will have that IP address for 8 days. Like I'm going to set it to 1. And what it means is, if that same computer connects a day later, it'll have the same IP address. If more than 10 PCs, so what will happen, because I've only got 10 addresses, if more than 10 PCs connect within an 8-day period, if the default was 8, they wouldn't be able to connect. There's actually a big issue now with mobile networks, not mobile networks, but mobile devices in like cloud networks, like Witherspoons and that sort of stuff. If their DHCP is set to 8 days, then it basically means that their total amount of addresses that they have available will refresh once every 8 days. If you set it to 1, it will refresh every day, which allows more people to connect, because you can connect to a router or an access point, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you will connect to the internet. So this kind of gets around it, but I know this is the corporate environment anyway, so you should make a range with the amount of PCs that you have. When clients obtain an IP address, they are given DHCP options such as the IP address of routers, default gateways. Configure the server. You can specify routers or default gateways to be distributed by the scope. That would be this server, which is 162.8.100. There you go. You can specify the parent domain if you want the client to create an entity to use for the DMS. To configure scope clients to use DNS servers on your network, enter the IP address. Okay. Domain.local server name, so that's going to be 192.168.1.100. Actually, let's resolve that, which is going to be DC. What's it called? Win 2000. resolve. There you go. So yeah, you can put the server names or even multiple servers with as a DNS, or not traditionally, but for good practice, you would have each physical server as a separate service. So one would be Active Directory, one would be DHCP, one would be DNS. Actually, you would assign all. Would you assign all three? I don't. I've never physically done it, but it's always in the cleanliness of a virtual environment. But certainly stuff like Active Directory, DHCP, and DNS, you would keep on one server. Remote installation services, media services, application services, you would put as separate things because they're not core to make the domain run. Okay, enter server IP addresses. Okay, so that's going to be WINS, so that's going to be the same thing. So because everything for me is all going to be on the one server, it's all going to be the same IP address. Activate scope, click next. So there's my scope, and it's called client IP addresses. IP address pool. So that's the pool, that's basically 10 addresses. And can I change that? No. Okay, that's fine. So what I need to do now, I need to authorize that. Anyway, let's get to Active Directory, and this is the core of any server version. So domain.local and computers, domain controllers, which would be this 2000 server. There's no other computers connected to the network, so there's nothing in there. And this is where all the users are going to be. So where's the administrator? The built-in account for administrating the computer/domain. Thing is, that is not a domain account though, is it? Oh, it is. Okay. Okay, that's fine. That's so that is the built-in account for administrating the computer/domain. However, there is a separate user account built into the PC because you got your local account and then you got your domain account. So net user, administrator guest, KRBT, I don't know what that is, and TS internet user. That's the terminal services thing. So let's change this. You know what? I'm not going to change that. I'm going to create my own account. So it's going to be admin. There you go. Okay. So it's good practice to set up your own admin account rather than use the administrator, because somebody will only have to guess the password. And in this version, if you guess the local admin password, you can guess the administrator password, which seems a bit odd. I might be able to change it, but I don't want to be locked out. So anyway, regardless of that,